Narrative is not enough to trade on, but it does sometimes, like there's a setup brewing, like here. Setup is brewing here, isn't it? What is the setup that's brewing? If you look through all my scribble, see how the RSI is oversold here on the daily chart? See how it kind of, you start to get wicks here as price kind of slides down through this, through the lower Bollinger Band. We broke through the 200 for a few days. We start to chop a little bit. So now it's starting to slow down a little bit. We're getting a bit oversold. So the setup is brewing, yes? Everybody see that? So then the narrative shifted. Narrative not enough, setup not enough. You need both. So we started to get a little bit of the setup. Then the narrative shifted on Thursday, 2 weeks ago, when Schumer said we won't shut the government down. The markets loved it on Thursday afternoon, and they've skyrocketed on Friday. You had narrative shift that began with inflation data that came out earlier in the week. Then you had Schumer come out right after that. The setup was already brewing, and then boom, here you go. Now, once that happens, that's when we check levels for a trigger to get into the trade. See it? Setup, narrative, levels. But sometimes you're in a trade, either this way or this way, and the narrative is so strong that the narrative shift can start to like immediately change course. And so you don't have time for setup or trigger. Now all of a sudden Powell says something and, oh my God, inflation is coming. The markets react. They start breaking through levels. And before you know it, you get, more confirmation. And then you wait for like a setup to trade, like a retest, right? Because you're not going to just all of a sudden jump into this, right? You're going to wait for a little pullback, get a retest, and then maybe jump. So sometimes the narrative comes first, but the bottom line is you always want a narrative and a setup. What is the narrative? And do we have a setup? And if we do have a setup, what's my trigger to get into the trade? Everybody understand? This is what we've been doing for 5 years in different formats, of course, and in different ways because the markets have changed and zero DTE came to fruition and some other things have happened. So, but this is the Trade With Me Now trading philosophy. I don't just jump in because the markets are rolling over. I'm not a predictor of stock movements or market movements. What I have become and what you should strive to become as well is a master of pattern recognition, technical pattern recognition. We are technical traders, right? Because we're not fucking smart enough to be analytic or fundamental traders. Let's just be clear about that, okay? You're not going, I don't, maybe you already are. Maybe you used to work on Wall Street. But if you did, like, why are you here? I don't know. But none of us are going to become analysts and get all of the, underbelly data. We're not going to get all that. Nor do we want to spend all of that time analyzing PE ratios and insider trading and dark money pools. And even that is like a joke. We're not going to want to do all of that stuff, nor will it be very effective. So if you're not going to do that, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to do technical trading then. We're going to be a technical trader where we trade off of price action, charts, indicators, but that's not enough. So what I've introduced to the trading world is we never take a trade without a setup. What is a setup? It's a series of criteria that we can stack on top of each other, like making a case for prosecution. Is there enough evidence evidence for the judge to say, okay, you know what, this can go to trial? Is there enough evidence where the prosecutor even will bring it in front of a judge? You've got to have enough. Same with a doctor's prognosis. Can they really diagnose what's wrong with you without doing tests? Well, I've got a runny nose. Oh, you must have COVID. Well, wait a minute. Looks like he's got fever, and there's some abdominal pain. So, and da 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 da. He's dizzy, and his blood work. We looked at his glucose levels, and da 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 da. Oh, bang! Looks like there's a chance, no guarantee. There's a good chance, better than 50-50 chance that he's got X. Good chance. Better than 50. Better than 70% chance. Guilty. Right? But you can see, you got to stack the evidence up, right? It can't just be, I got a runny nose. It can't just be, oh, he's guilty because his DNA is all over the place. Well, he freaking lives there. I mean, maybe that makes sense, right? There's got to be, we saw a witness, we have a witness, we have a corroborating witness, we've got the blood work, we've got the life insurance policy. There's a text message where he says, if you tell me to clean up the rabbit cage one more time, I'm going to kill you. Whatever. All of the evidence adds up. So when we trade, we must have a setup, a series of criteria. It can't just be, well, let's buy the dip in Tesla because Tesla's at a low. Not enough. So when you guys say to me, well, what about GE? And then I look at GE and I'm like, yeah, what do you like? Well, it's, way down there at the bottom. It's most likely ready for a bounce. Okay, that would be maybe one criteria. What else do you have? Well, right? That's how most of you have traded in the past. Either you got a tip from someone else, or when you read the chart of something that you didn't get a tip from, or a trade alert from, or a notification on, or perhaps it was on the list of stocks to buy by investing.com or Barron's or whatever. You probably looked at a chart and saw maybe one thing. So now I'm going to teach you, not here, obviously this is what we do, teach you to read a number of things. Is it oversold or overbought? Are the moving averages stacked? Moving averages stacked positively or negatively? Are we coming up against some support, coming up against some kind of resistance, right? What's Fibonacci have to say about it all? What are the Bollinger Bands doing? Previous swing levels, right? What's the VIX doing? Then once we have kind of like an idea that there could be a setup, we look at different time frames and such. Okay, great. You can't trade it without knowing what the hell the narrative is. What if you wanted to short, Google last week as an example? Look at this. Last week you go, Google. There's no E in Google, right? What if you looked at this and went, holy cow, this is called lower lows and lower highs, right? I want to short this pig. This is full. Look at this over. This is like, look at all the sellers down here. This is the RSI. We're not oversold, right? Look at this thing. Look at the momentum coming down. It's, going up a little, but these are just pullbacks, right? Let's short Google. And you could make a case for shorting Google there, could you not? Look at this closely, guys, especially those of you who are new, right? Look at this. There's the 50 period moving average, the 100 period moving average, the 200 period moving average, stacked negatively with price below. That is a bearish chart if there ever was one. Hanging out at the lower Bollinger Band. Yep. Look at the RSI. Overbought, crossover to, sort of the midline of the RSI and just living a dream, living that bearish dream. Hoo-hoo, coming down. Down she goes. You could make a case to short Google. You could. In fact, when it pulled back a little bit last week, right here, you might have said, what a great entry. Yeah? Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, yeah. Great entry for the next leg. Everybody see, just visually, you could have made a case to short Google, could you not? Yes? Somebody give me an amen. But if you take the setup, thank you, Texas. We hear from Texas and Reba and DJ, right? But if you add the narrative that I talked about in the alerts and in the live sessions, can you see why that was not the move? What did we do instead? We bought. What did we buy? We bought JP Morgan, we bought Amazon, and we bought the SPY. Yes? We were long, long, long because we were getting oversold. We were getting ready for a bounce. We got a little bit of a bounce, and I said in all of the alerts, the bounce is here, but I need confirmation. Setup confirmation and narrative confirmation. Once I get that, I'm in. I dipped my toe in the water as we went. Remember, I put a little Amazon trade on. That did not work initially, did it? So we had to roll it to this week because it didn't quite get where it needed to go. Remember SPY a week ago wasn't working out, and then it finally came alive at the end of the week. Got it. Put a little bit of JP Morgan, not a little, got some JP Morgan last week. Great. Pullback. Got some more JP Morgan for this week. Got some more Amazon for this week. Got some more SPY for this week. Why? Because we had confirmation of the narrative once the setup was in. This is not guesswork. This is a combination of technical analysis and I shouldn't even use the word analysis because it sounds like it's so much, right? Just technical pattern recognition plus knowing where to look for the narrative and then getting your confirmation to take the trade. Now you can take a little tester trade if you like, once you get this and this, and then you lean into the trade once it confirms, which is what I did. And once I got the move on Monday, whoo, baby. Feed the pigeons.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video from Trade With Me Now. Make sure to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel so you make sure that you catch our next video right when it's released. Also, if you have a question or comment, please leave that in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to learn more about Trade With Me Now or join our community of profitable traders, go to tradewithmenow.com. There's also a link in the description below.